Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster, and today we're going to discuss an important issue that has been making waves in the health community. We're focusing on the chemical trichloroethylene, often referred to as TCE. Despite a finalized ban by the Environmental Protection Agency in December of 2024, there's a growing effort by certain industries and political groups to reverse that ban. This is especially concerning because TCE has been strongly linked to serious health risks, including Parkinson's disease.
Thanks for the introduction, Ethan. TCE is indeed a chemical of concern. It's commonly used in industrial processes and can be found around dry cleaners, military bases, and manufacturing sites. It contaminates air, water, and soil, which means entire communities can be unknowingly exposed. Research by both independent scientists and the EPA indicates that TCE raises the risk of cancer, organ damage, and developmental problems. More critically, it's one of the most well-established environmental triggers of Parkinson's disease.
Parkinson's disease affects more than 1 million Americans and around 10 million people worldwide. Although genetics and aging are factors, environmental exposures are increasingly seen as major contributors. TCE exposure has gained special attention here, since it's been demonstrated to damage the exact region of the brain affected by Parkinson's. Given that TCE lingers in the environment, the push to keep it on the market puts many individuals in harm's way, especially those living near or working in contaminated areas.
That's correct. The EPA did finalize a rule to ban TCE under the Toxic Substances Control Act. But ever since, there's been consistent pressure to scrap or weaken that ban. Corporate lobbying and political maneuvering have played a significant role, even though the agency itself found TCE to pose what it called an unreasonable risk to human health. Lawsuits and executive orders have helped delay the enforcement of the ban. In fact, despite the rule being finalized, it hasn't been effectively implemented yet, leaving workers and surrounding communities unprotected.
One of the major frustrations that people have voiced is how these delays leave employers with no urgency to adopt safer alternatives or better workplace practices. With TCE's ban in limbo, organizations aren't legally required to follow new safety measures. This means ongoing exposure to TCE, which raises the risk of diseases like Parkinson's, multiple cancers, liver and kidney damage, and even heart defects in infants. Yet companies and certain policymakers continue to push back against the ban.
Indeed. A ProPublica investigation laid bare much of the behind-the-scenes influence on the regulatory process. Some industries and political figures are challenging the ban in court, and there have been attempts to repeal the rule using Congressional Review Act resolutions. It's one reason why communities near industrial zones, dry cleaners, and old military sites can find themselves stuck, not knowing how to protect themselves from a chemical that's technically been banned but remains in use.
One glaring example is Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. This military base has a disturbing history of TCE contamination. Between 1953 and 1985, people living and working there unknowingly drank, bathed in, and inhaled TCE-contaminated water. Many of those individuals have since developed cancers or Parkinson's disease. A large cohort study found that those stationed at Camp Lejeune were at least 70% more likely to develop Parkinson's than those stationed elsewhere. The effects were severe, and the government eventually had to offer compensation to veterans and families through the Honoring America's Veterans and Caring for Camp Lejeune Families Act.
That case stands out as a cautionary tale about how dangerous TCE can be when it seeps into water supplies and people's homes. It's not just members of the military who are at risk, though. People in many cities have discovered TCE vapor plumes beneath their neighborhoods. Others learned that the local dry cleaner or factory was using it for years without proper disposal. According to the Environmental Working Group, roughly 17 million people in the U.S. are using water containing TCE. It's a widespread problem.
Studies show TCE is capable of causing serious neurological issues. It disrupts mitochondrial function in brain cells, creating oxidative stress and inflammation in the substantia nigra, the region tied to Parkinson's. Over time, this damage kills off dopamine-producing cells. A recent review in the Journal of Parkinson's Disease concluded that environmental factors are a major driver in the disease's rising prevalence, and TCE is highlighted as one of the chief culprits. It doesn't mean every case of Parkinson's is caused by TCE, but it's described as a significant risk factor.
And because of its volatility, TCE is a stealthy contaminant. It evaporates easily, creeps through soil and concrete foundations, and even contaminates groundwater. People can be exposed in offices and schools located next to dry cleaning businesses or industrial sites. Some might live near a plant that historically dumped solvents, only to find out years later their drinking water was compromised. The link to Parkinson's often remains hidden because symptoms can appear decades after the original exposure, making it tough for individuals to connect their condition to TCE.
Despite these well-documented dangers, the chemical remains in play due to legal and political challenges. Meanwhile, the number of people with Parkinson's disease continues to grow. The argument that reversing the TCE ban would support economic interests doesn't hold much weight when we look at the potential public health costs and the burden on the healthcare system. Communities grappling with contamination issues and individuals who've developed neurological disorders are increasingly skeptical of regulatory agencies that seem to prioritize corporate interests over public well-being.
It's definitely eroded trust in organizations like the EPA. Many people expected the ban to take effect once the agency declared TCE an unacceptable threat. But the back and forth in courts, coupled with executive orders delaying enforcement, has sent a different message. Some individuals who've faced TCE-related illnesses say they feel abandoned or misled. Even those who aren't directly affected might question why there's so much pushback against a ban that was backed by scientific evidence.
Let's discuss practical steps people can take. If you suspect TCE contamination in your area, it's crucial to learn whether any old industrial zones or dry cleaners were nearby. Checking local water reports, especially for volatile organic compounds, is a good start. If you discover TCE in your water supply, filtration is your best line of defense. Systems that include reverse osmosis, carbon blocks, and ion exchange can significantly reduce TCE levels. It's important to think beyond just your drinking water, though. Showering in contaminated water also poses a risk.
Absolutely. People living in areas with known vapor intrusion often need to seal cracks in their foundations or improve ventilation. A vapor barrier can help prevent TCE from entering the home, but adequate ventilation is key. Running bathroom and kitchen exhaust fans can lower indoor concentrations. It's also important to support your body's natural detox pathways and protect mitochondrial function. Nutrients like niacinamide and thiamine can help cells produce energy more efficiently. Magnesium threonate is another valuable supplement for brain protection and healthy cell function.
Taking local action matters, too. Pressuring city councils or health departments to conduct regular testing of air and water can make a big difference. Large-scale change often takes time, but community advocacy can push local governments to implement stricter guidelines or do more thorough sampling. While national regulations and bans remain in question, individuals can still mobilize at the local level. Asking officials to test for TCE or reevaluate zoning policies can produce immediate benefits. Individuals want to know how they can protect themselves and their families. Testing your water and air for TCE is crucial. Consider robust water filtration methods. Seal your home's foundation. Ensure proper ventilation. And look after your mitochondrial health with key nutrients. Advocacy can also play a role in urging local testing and regulations.
There's no guarantee that the ban will remain intact, so being proactive is essential. Since TCE contamination can be present in unexpected places, it's wise to stay informed, communicate with local officials, and take measures at home to reduce possible exposure. These steps can help address immediate concerns while the broader legal battles continue.
Absolutely. A ban might take time to fully implement, but in the meantime, awareness and practical precautions go a long way. That concludes our discussion today on TCE and its potential reversal. We hope this conversation shines a light on why it matters to stay informed about toxic chemicals in your environment.
Thank you for joining us on Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Even if the regulatory landscape changes, remember that safeguarding your health is ultimately in your hands. By learning about TCE, its dangers, and the steps you can take, you empower yourself to make safer choices and protect your loved ones.
We appreciate you tuning in. Stay informed about the status of TCE regulations, especially if you live near industrial sites or former military bases. Watch for updates, engage with your community, and keep exploring ways to minimize your exposure to harmful chemicals. Until next time, this is Ethan Foster.
And I'm Alara Sky. Thank you for listening, and take care of yourselves and your families.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.